We got some drama that gives reality TV a run for their money. Now, it's a safe place here on this channel. What is your favorite reality TV show? Or if you don't watch reality TV, maybe at some point you did, what was your favorite growing up? I grew up on everything. Jersey Shore, Laguna Beach, The Hills. Guys, yes, is reality TV trash most of the time? Absolutely. And I'm entertained, so I'm watching it. 100% I'm watching it. No shame over here. I love reality TV. First story, my boyfriend's sister is obsessed with him. Like in a creepy way or a loving and endearing way. This was first posted August 21st, 2024. My boyfriend and I have been dating for a little over 3 years now. He has one sister that is 25 years old. This sister, I feel, is a little obsessed with my boyfriend, her brother. I was blinded by it at the first of our relationship, and just gradually over the last year, it's been really showing more and more. She will do things such as call him over and over, 5 to 6 times in a row, along with like 5 to 6 texts if he doesn't answer his phone. We will just be doing things like hanging out with friends or being on a date, and she will do this just to see what he is doing. Anytime we go somewhere, she has to know where he is going, what he is doing, who he'll be with, and what time he will be home, etc. A couple weeks ago, she came into his room while we were laying in bed watching a show and referred to him as my love, but just to tell him that his phone was going to die. My love, your phone is going to die. And then on another occasion, she came into his room and petted his chest, and his shirt was off as she was sitting down, which was super unnecessary. She had his location and she would watch it like a hawk 24/7. She would sometimes just show up to where we would be without saying anything before coming. I have a sister that we occasionally hang out with, and while hanging out with her, my boyfriend will get texts from either his sister or her boyfriend saying, "Thanks for cheating on us," or "Thanks for the invite." Just really immature stuff like that. Last Thursday, we were driving home from the store and she and her boyfriend conveniently showed up on the same road at the same time. And when we ignored them driving next to us, it made her so mad. So they sped past us and she flipped us off out the window. Okay, so she has a boyfriend. That makes me feel like a tiny bit better. My boyfriend started a new job back in April, which made him extremely exhausted and tired. So he didn't really talk to anyone else, which made her freak out, thinking that he was so mad at her, and went and complained to their mom about it, which then resulted in the mom asking me about it, like I had something to do with it. I didn't. I've expressed my concerns to my boyfriend and he has seen the problem, but has a rough time saying anything to her because she will just get dramatic and freak out again. He just recently stopped sharing his location with her and she is pissed about it and keeps requesting his location. On the 4th of July, my boyfriend had gotten really drunk, so I drove him home, and the second we walked into the house, she was quick to run out of the bathroom and take over taking care of him, even though I had it and I am perfectly capable of taking care of him. I just feel like she feels threatened and is low-key obsessed with her younger brother, and I don't know what to do. There are many other things that happened that I could never fit into this whole paragraph. Advice? It's interesting. We got an update. Maybe there's some more info here. This one came August 7th, 2025. First off, the good news is we're still together and now we're engaged. Oh, the sister's gonna have a field day with that one. Back in October, shortly after my original post, his sister finally moved out. That was amazing, and things calmed down for a while. Honestly, I've blocked out some of what happened, but there are a few major events that I remember clearly. At the beginning of this year, my fiance and I were looking to buy a house about 35 to 45 minutes from our hometown. When we told his parents, his mom completely shut down and was obviously upset. She tried to list every reason why we shouldn't do it, but I had answers for everything. Still, she acted like a child for days, barely talking, and when she did, it was to criticize the idea. In the end, we didn't buy the house, partly due to her lack of support and partly for work-related reasons. Things stayed relatively calm for a couple more months, aside from the usual requests of his location. My fiance and I had many long talks and serious talks about his family, and we've chosen each other every time. He sees the issues now and has cut his sister off. Since we will still live with his parents until our wedding next year, he will say hello if she's around, but that's it. The final straw happened in April. Around 1 a.m. on a Friday night, I started getting multiple no caller ID calls. I didn't answer at first, but then my fiance started getting them too, so we picked them up. On the line were a couple of girls claiming that they had been with my fiance the night before and the week before, sleeping with him. They were trying to convince me he was cheating. I knew immediately it was a lie. We recognized the voice. It was his sister and one of her friends. She's 25? That's like, okay, like 15 years old, maybe. Doing like prank calls like that, trying to break people up. Why am I acting like I ever did that? I did prank calls. That was fun. They called 15 to 20 times, kept changing their story, and couldn't get the details straight. We finally confronted them by name and told them to stop. I was furious and got off the phone, telling her, "This is why we don't talk to you anymore. You need to grow up and you're almost 30. My fiance told his parents about the prank calls, but they denied that she would ever do something like that. A few days later, she admitted it to him, laughed it off, and called it a joke. She didn't care and never apologized. That was the moment that he completely cut her off. His mom didn't help matters. She ended up yelling at my fiance, saying that I was the new variable ruining the family. Then, at the end of April, it was his sister's birthday. We had already decided not to attend the family dinner because it was also my mom's birthday, and we were going to her celebration instead. During my mom's dinner, his mom sent multiple texts saying that she was disappointed that he broke her heart by not choosing her. When he didn't respond, his dad texted, "When you come home, don't bring your woman with you." Oh no, this is getting bad. My fiance went home to talk to them while I stayed at my parents' house. In the front yard, his dad lectured him about how blood is thicker than water and no one should come before your blood family. My fiance asked if his mom came first in his dad's life, and his dad said no, which honestly blew my mind. Fast forward to June, his mom insisted we have a face-to-face family meeting. It was awful. I confronted his sister directly, but she had nothing to say, so most of the conversation ended up being between me and her fiance. Oh, so the sister's now engaged as well. My fiance did defend me, so I wasn't entirely on my own. Since that day, there's been no further drama. His sister remains cut off from our lives. We're happy, we're planning to move out as soon as possible, and we're looking forward to our wedding. Yeah, not a happy ending. I thought maybe there would be some kind of resolution there, but guess not. What would you guys do in that situation? I have a brother, and ain't no way. Bro, I don't gotta know what you're doing. Why would I want to know what you're doing? As long as you're safe, that's all I care about. I don't need your location. I don't need to be in your business. You tell me what you want me to know, and I'll tell you what I want you to know. Love ya. All that other stuff was weird. My throat's hurting, so we're gonna hydrate early, okay? I hope I'm not getting sick. It's really hurting on the right-hand side. It's like dry. No. Hold on. You don't want to know why? I went to the Jonas Brothers concert and I was screaming at the top of my lungs for hours straight. So that's probably why my throat hurts. For sure. Cheers. Drink some water. I hope you're having a good day. Also, you guys, I posted all the concert content on social media, and I know a lot of you guys don't have Instagram. If you do, go and follow me and chat with me. But if not, I post all my TikToks, Instagram stuff on a separate channel. It's my little shorts channel, Life with Joss. It's in the description, on the screen. It'll be somewhere. So if you want to see all the behind the scenes stuff in my life, go subscribe there. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not talking to my sister since my wedding after her affair being exposed ruined the day? That's a lot of drama. I, 26 male, married my wife Ella, 26 female, 4 months ago, and it's been 4 months since I spoke to my sister Valerie, 31 female, after her affair was exposed during our wedding reception. It led to a fight between her husband and the affair partner, who happens to be Ella's brother's best friend. What are the odds of that? The two are married and they snuck off to continue their affair, but were caught by Valerie's husband. There was yelling. Wait, were they like hooking up at the wedding? And the husband caught them? Oh my God, that is an episode of The Maury Show. Jerry Springer, the whole deal. There was yelling, punches thrown. My sister was hysterically trying to get her husband to calm down and take back what he said. I assume he said that he was done with her. And they brought it back into the ballroom for everyone to witness. Oh my gosh. The cops had to be called, and Valerie's husband was insulting her and called her every name a person might think of. The guy's wife got involved once she realized that it was her husband involved. She jumped in, and Valerie ended up having her dress shredded and some hair pulled out. Yeah, well, don't sleep with someone's husband. Truly, I feel like that's words to live by. If you don't want to be punched in the face, Don't sleep with someone's husband. This became a huge distraction, and Ella and I decided to leave early because most of our guests ran off after that. Valerie's husband, the affair partner, and his wife were all arrested, and Valerie was taken to the hospital. My parents told me she was released 12 hours later, and I told them I didn't care and I didn't want to talk about her or to her. Valerie did try reaching out, but I ignored her. She mostly cried about how her life was ruined and she needed her brother. It was an afterthought, like several weeks of an afterthought when she apologized for what happened, but she tried to say that none of it was her fault. But I refused to talk, and I still don't want to. My parents have passed along apologies for her, and I've told them to stop. They say I need to talk and Valerie needs me, and they said that she was the biggest victim since she needed to be taken to the hospital, and surely Ella and I don't place any blame on her. But she knew her husband and affair partner's wife were at the wedding. She chose to go off and screw around on her husband during my wedding reception. She made risky choices and didn't give a crap about my wedding. So, am I the a-hole? Hell no. Hell no. This is a grown... Valerie was 35... No, she's 31 years old, okay? Grown-ass woman making her own decisions, cheating on her husband, doing it on your wedding day with everyone there. I don't feel bad. Consequences to your own actions. Oh, you're sad your husband's leaving you? You were somebody else.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you speaking to me or sleeping with someone else?
I'm not understanding why I'm supposed to feel bad. That's aggressive. But also, moving on. Next story, I told my boyfriend that I'm no longer interested in marriage. This was posted January 19th, 2025. I, 33 female, have been in a 10-year relationship with my boyfriend, Carl, 33 male. After the first year of our relationship, I made it very clear that I intended to be a wife someday. By the time I was 28, I started to remind him of my goals and expectations, and Carl told me that while he knew he wanted to marry me, he just wasn't ready and didn't like how I was pressuring him and called me controlling. Eventually, we broke up, but 6 months later, we got back together and we even moved in. Looking back on it now, I realized that that wasn't the best decision, but I was so emotionally attached to this man and I felt so invested that I was willing to go back to him. Carl and I have now been together for 4 years, and while I stopped being happy about it after the first 6 months, living with him isn't a bad experience. Plus, I always thought that getting married was just around the corner because he said that he was ready to commit to me, but he wanted to wait for the right time because I deserved a perfect proposal and a more stable husband. I've been going to therapy for the past 2 years and recently had an epiphany. Since childhood, I've always wanted a wedding, but never really gave much thought to being a married woman 24/7 and what that would mean. Given my country's shift in politics and new laws that politicians are trying to pass, I realized that not only am I fine with never getting married, but I'm starting to lean more into no longer possessing the desire to do it. Since then, it feels like I've been set free in a way, and I started focusing on myself. One of the major things I've done is tell Carl that I'll no longer assist with babysitting his nephews and niece, instead focus more of my time into getting certified in something to increase my earning potential and just relaxing. Carl seemed nonchalant about it at first, but then said that we needed to have a sit down when I sent Carl's mom and his brother a text that they had 3 weeks before I stopped helping out completely. Carl said that while he understands my desire for more personal time, it's important to be there and sacrifice for family. I told him that he could switch around his work schedule and help with the kids since they're technically his family, and he said that the children love me and that one day they would be my family too since we were man and wife. It was at that moment that I told him I no longer desired marriage, and while I gave my reasons, Carl still took it as me wanting to break up with him and or thinking that he would make a terrible husband. That is not at all the case, but he's starting to lash out and getting suspicious, and I just don't know what to do. How can I get my boyfriend to see that it's me and not him? Interesting. Now, we have an update which came 7 months later and very recently, August 10th, 2025. So things were a little tense over the next few days because we were either fighting or just not talking to each other. He even moved into the spare bedroom one day and stopped giving me money for his share of the streaming services that we both use and I technically pay for. I even had to mute his mom and brother for a little bit. Then, once Valentine's Day was right around the corner, he did a complete 180 and started speaking to me again and even apologized for his initial reaction, and he seemed really receptive to hearing my reasons. He then told me he planned a special day for us the weekend after Valentine's Day, which I was delighted to hear. On the day of, I woke up to him gone, but with breakfast laid out for me and a text message saying that there was a work emergency that he had to go in for a couple hours, and he told me to go meet him at the movie theater later downtown by 3 p.m. Is he gonna propose to you? I thought it was cool. I chilled for a bit, then got ready and I headed out. By 2:55 p.m., I sent him a text message asking where he was and responded by saying he accidentally typed the wrong time and that the movie wouldn't start until 5 p.m. And he meant that he wouldn't be able to leave work until 3 p.m. Okay? He's had a case of fat fingers and butt dials before, so I initially don't think much of it and just decided to go walking around the outlet close by to kill some time. Then I got another text saying that he changed our online ticket reservations because he was still stuck at the office and to just chill until 7 p.m. This time I grew suspicious because instead of calling or texting back with questions, I just gave him a thumbs up and sent a selfie of me at one of my favorite stores. Then I started to drive back home. Normally, getting back to our apartment from downtown area where I was at around this time of day on a weekend can be a bit of a challenge, but today traffic was decent. Then when I pull up to the complex, I see a moving truck. No, he didn't. And here I was thinking he was about to propose. No big deal. January/February is when a lot of people have moved out or in before, so I understood. Why did I see some of Carl's friends near the truck? Why did I see some of Carl's friends moving the couch that I paid for into the truck? I called the police and told them that I was actually being robbed. I stayed in my car for a while, trying to calm myself down until I saw Carl helping a man load my bookshelf into the back of his pickup truck. I got out and confronted him. The man was trying to keep me out of the apartment all day so he could quietly move out and take my furniture. And I say my furniture because I was the one who picked it all out and paid for most of everything, and I readily shared the email confirmation order number and receipts that I had archived when the police showed up. The man tried to take my bookshelf because apparently Carl had sold it to him. But that wasn't my problem, and that I would press charges on everyone if my stuff wasn't back in my place. We got into a huge argument and the police tried to brush this off as a civil matter since Carl and I lived together, but I went into the station the next day and spoke to a female officer who was better help. My dining room set, spices, blender, groceries, lamps, TV, coffee table, and mattresses were gone, but Carl's friends did put back the couch, which was a pullout. The middleman between my landlord and me did speak to Carl about wanting to take his name off the lease, but did not follow the proper protocol and confirmed with me that I would take on full responsibility of rent, so I did file a complaint. I ended up leaving the complex and moving somewhere else, and I pressed charges against Carl and his friends, if only to create a paper trail and help in my civil case against my ex. In the end, I was able to get some financial compensation for what I lost, and he has until November to pay it all. I wasn't even sad that he didn't want to be with me anymore, just pissed off at how he tried to go about it. It was very clear that he wanted to punish me, and I'm so glad that I never ended up marrying this man. I completed my certification, got a promotion, and the pay raise that comes with it, and my dad has agreed to give me the money that he was saving for my future wedding as a down payment for a house. After this entire experience, I am now 10 toes down in never getting married. Also, as a side note, since Carl's brother couldn't provide consistent childcare on his days, the mother filed for full custody, and now Carl's brother pays child support. I was way off with that one, y'all. Way off. What a sneaky... Wow. And here I was being like, oh my God, he's gonna propose and try to convince you to marry him. Quite the opposite. Couldn't be more opposite. Little update. Remember how I said my throat was hurting because I went to the Jonas Brothers concert and screamed my voice off? Yeah. I'm very sniffly and I have a headache. Say a prayer that I don't get sick because I have a very fun trip coming up, as you guys know, in quite literally 5 days. I cannot be sick for it. What do I do? What do I do? Next up, dropped out of the wedding as maid of honor. Ooh, something big must have happened for you to do that. I canceled the bridal shower and alongside the entire wedding party, dropped out and did not attend the wedding. During early stages of wedding planning, there was a mutual agreement between the bridal party and the bride that the bachelorette trip will be after the wedding due to scheduling conflicts to commit to traveling to the bride's desired country. As it feels weird to have a bachelorette after the wedding, we suggested doing a relaxing trip locally prior to the wedding, but received no response. A few months in, we get a message from her fiance that he feels she wants to do a week-long vacation at a specific overseas resort. He reassured us that she has unlimited paid time off and could take time off. She never mentioned this destination to us, but thought perhaps she has just been too busy and just relayed the message to him. Bridesmaids and I rearranged our schedules and reconfirmed with him. He insisted she was free and told us to move forward with the booking. Since it was a big decision, the bridesmaids and I decided to just let her know that this was in the works and asked her to take the time off. She said she could only take a couple days off work, so we adjusted and looked into closer destinations. We began planning, offering resort and activity options, assuring her that we would handle all the details. However, she insisted on doing her own in-depth research. Meanwhile, her fiance kept pressuring us to stick to his original, now unworkable, plan. We got no input from the bride until 1 month before departure, when I followed up. She then said that she couldn't take any time off work due to work and wedding planning. We respected her decision and again offered a local weekend trip instead. No response. With just weeks away, bridesmaids and I were back to the drawing board and suggested a couple local towns to visit. She chose a spot and we reserved dinner and an activity and highlighted a few spots to explore, keeping the itinerary relaxed to ease her wedding planning stress. During the trip, we found out that we'd be emceeing and handling music since they weren't hiring a DJ. We were happy to help, though I suggested finding an affordable DJ as I wasn't confident doing it, but she declined. We also learned she didn't want a traditional bridal shower and preferred an activity-based one instead. We asked for a guest list, requested 2 months prior to her plan, but she became upset and yelled at us for asking too many questions. She said the guest list would depend on the activity and that we need to figure that out first. Unusual for a shower, but we respected her preferences. Over time, we spent countless hours researching and had suggested more than 10 different activities. All were rejected without any feedback, just passive-aggressive comments. When we asked for guidance, she said she needed to do her own research but had no time. With 2 weeks left and still no guest list, we had to wait. A week before the shower, she finally sent a list and we agreed on one. As I was about to book, she replied with a passive-aggressive remark implying that we wouldn't plan the day properly. We were shocked. Of course we planned to handle everything. When the other bridesmaid shared how hurt she felt, things took a turn. She sends us a long message accusing us of not putting in any time, care, or commitment, saying that she was disappointed, especially the trip, for lacking a detailed itinerary and frustrated by having to answer so many questions over the months. She said that we were ruining her once-in-a-lifetime experience and expected bridesmaids to take full control without the bride's input, adding that we were burdening her with her ongoing wedding stress and we should have asked her fiance, who I avoided after the previous ordeal. I offered to meet in person to talk things out, but no response. We only asked questions to plan something that she would actually enjoy. Had we made decisions without her, she likely would not have been happy either. Okay, so basically, she's a bridezilla and she is impossible to impress apparently. Feeling guilty, we postponed the shower by a week and chose an activity that she had previously mentioned as the new plan. We asked the fiancé for the guest list to finalize the bookings. He said the activity chosen was too risky before the wedding and suggested a private relaxation session located over an hour away. I raised concerns about the distance for those who did not drive and that I am happy to find alternatives, but he assured me he handled transportation. We sent the invites and one needed a ride, but days later the guest told me that he backed out offering a ride, saying he had to focus on wedding planning. We were incredibly disappointed. Had we known he couldn't follow through, we wouldn't have agreed to this distant location. The bridal shower ended up costing a lot more than expected and thought that we could have an open conversations on how things were split. If we went the traditional route, we would have a more control over the budget and probably be comfortable paying. As the maid of honor, I was okay footing a bigger portion of the bill, but thought that it was a conversation worth having, especially given the challenges. She again sent a long message saying she was extremely offended and accused us of thinking that this was all transactional and how we've been useless and awful bridesmaids that have been burdening her. She proceeds to list out everything she has hosted and paid for us. We were very upset that she had the need to keep tabs and completely disregarded our efforts in everything. We never heard from either of them regarding the shower and decided to cancel as I couldn't see how anyone would enjoy it. A part of me wanted to push through and just get it over with as I felt guilty to have ruined it for her. I clarified that we tried our best and none of this was ever our intention, and I still offered to be a guest, but again, I did not hear back. The fiancé finally reached out and asked me if I was still attending and that the bride did not have any mental capacity or time to deal with this stuff. I was appalled by the comment, and it was clear that she had no respect for the friendship. I dropped out of the wedding and I wish them the best. In hindsight, I should have done it earlier, but I constantly felt guilty. Insane. Insane. And wedding culture, might I add, is just getting out of control. Why is standing in a wedding like thousands of dollars all of a sudden? Just wondering. Let me know your thoughts and feelings on this, you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy.